it's Anja here, and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks, and today I would like to show you how to do the mosaic crochet technique. Now it is a very simple technique, but look how effective it is. So I have just done this one here. It's like a table mat, but I'm going to use it just to put under my computer on my tray, just to sort of soften it a little bit, and I think it looks really nice. So I have used just some cotton leftovers that I had, and I used a 3 hook because this cotton is really thin, and I usually use a 2.5 to a 3 for that one, and I basically just sort of alternated the the colors. Now I came up with a really easy pattern. The crochet technique is the same, so the mosaic technique is the same, but you can make various patterns. But I thought for this sort of first video that I did on this, I would do a quite an easy pattern that you can replicate sort of without even having to go and consult a pattern somewhere, and that you can turn into blankets, cushion covers, table mats, coasters, whatever you want to try out. So for this particular pattern here, for my little table mat, I used 60 stitches, and then I worked out the system here, the pattern here, so it worked out with my 60 stitches. If you want to make a blanket in this particular stitch, then you just have to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to make my blanket so many chains wide, and my repeat is going to be so many stitches. Okay, so here for my 60 stitches wide, my repeat was 6 stitches, so I had 10 repeats in each row, and my repeat consisted of 5 single crochets in the back loop only, and then 1 double crochet in the front loop 2 rows down. Okay, so today I am going to show you how to do the mosaic technique using chunky yarn, okay, just so that it's easy for you to see. You will need scissors close by you because you are going to be cutting off your yarn every row, okay? So you only ever work on the front of your work, you never turn it, right? So that's one thing. There's quite a few things to remember here, okay? So first of all, we are going to get started with our chain. So start with making your slip knot and doing your chain, the length that you wanted. Now I am going to do 30 chains just for the tutorial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 30. Okay, so this is going to be my stitch repeats. Now we are going to add 2 more, 1 and 2, for a stitch on each end of our work. Each line of our work will start with a normal single crochet. The rest of these single crochets here are all back loop single crochets. Okay, so we just need an anchor point, a proper stitch at the sides of our work, so that's why we do 2 extra. And we are going to do 1 more because obviously we need a turning chain. This one does not count as a stitch, so go back to that last chain here and do your single crochet. Now I did say just now that every single crochet in this project is going to be done in the back loop, apart from these ones here, because of course we are just establishing our first row. So now I am going to go ahead and do my row going back, just doing single crochets as you would normally. Now depending on what you are making, you will of course have chained a lot more stitches, because if you're making a blanket, then your line of chains will be a lot longer. Now you can work out how long you want this chain or what multiple it should be by deciding what your repeat is going to be. So I have decided that my repeat is going to be 6. 6 times 5 is 30, so that works out. So I'll have 5 repeats. My stitch repeat of 6 will consist of 5 single crochets in the back loop, and then the double crochet, which will then be placed in the front loop of the second line below. And that will make that your double crochet looks as if it's sort of lying on top of your work, as you see here. Okay, but first of all, of course, we need to finish this first row. Each row you will be changing colors as well. So let me just finish this one, and then we will change colors. So of course I'm nearly there because I've only got 32 stitches to do. And of course, yeah, this is when it all starts playing up. There's my last one. Okay, so there we go. So like I said, you are not going to turn, so make sure, certainly in the beginning, that you put your work down. Okay, it will twist, don't worry about that. Okay, just have something to hold it. Then you are going to cut off your yarn. You pull this out, leave it. You go back to the start here, and you are going to use your second color. Okay, what I do is I make a slip knot, put it round your hook, and I am ready to start going. Now this has twisted, so make sure that you are still looking at your work like this, so you're still looking at the front of your work. This here is my chain, my turning chain, so I am just going to go and pick up the 2 V's of the first stitch. The first stitch of every row, you pick up the 2 stitches, the 2 legs of the V. Okay, so 2 strands there, and you do your single crochet as if you were already crocheting. Then the rest of the row, bar the last one, you are going to pick up the back loop. So let me show you. Into the back loop, and you do your single crochet. Front loop, back loop, into the back loop. So you leave that front loop unused throughout this line. You're not doing your double crochets just yet. You're not starting your repeat just yet because you have nowhere to go because it's not low enough. Okay, so the second row you just do back loop only. And this is how you will continue. And of course, because we are starting and stopping every row with an end, you're going to end up with, look, ends on this side and ends on this side. And that's of course where that double border that I do comes in really handy. So if you want to, you can go now to the video of the enclosed border, because that is your solution for the border, for not having to sew in your ends. So you can make a whole blanket in the mosaic stitch and not having to sew in a single end. Yes, it's true. Go and look at that video. Okay. Right, so I'm nearly there. As you can see, this is the penultimate stitch. This is the last stitch. Go under the 2 V's, okay, and do your single crochet. Once again, lay your work down, make sure it doesn't curl. It will stop curling eventually, but it's just because you haven't got enough there to lay it down. Pull out your loop, and that's the end of the row. You go back to the beginning of your row, and you start again. So I'm going to do just 2 colors this time instead of all the colors that I did before. But of course, yes, either way it will give you a lovely, lovely effect. Making sure you're holding on to your work like this. As you can see, this first stitch does close up for me, but this is exactly where you need to go into. So just coerce it into doing it what you want it to do. So you are going to pick up 2 V's, the 2 loops of the V, and you do your single crochet to get started. Then now we are going to get started finally on doing our mosaic technique. Repeat. So we've done our first stitch. This one is just our starting and end stitch. We don't count that in our repeat for the stitches, for our stitch repeat. So now I said I was going to do a repeat of 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches where I will use the back loop only single crochet. So let me do that one. 1, 2, always in the back loop. 3, 4 and 5. Yeah, is that 5? Let me just check. 2, yeah. Then you are going to do a double crochet, not in this line, but in the line below. So in the front loop of that stitch below this one here. This stitch, in fact, is going to remain unused. So the next stitch you do is going to be in here. You don't want to do it in here because you'll be adding stitches. So yarn over, then you go to this loop here, and I found it really hard to get into that. So I always twisted my hook, went into it from below like that, pull up a loop, yarn over, and I just held on to that so I didn't pull it too much, and then do your double crochet. There you go. Then you check at the back that you missed this stitch because we have done it, and then of course you start doing your single crochets in the back loop again. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, okay. So as you can see, it gives that lovely effect, you see, of crossing over onto the other, over the other color back to the original color. Right, let me show you that again. Okay, so this one is the one that we are going to skip, and the front loop of the row below is the one that we are going to use. So yarn over, twist your hook into that front loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Skip that one, back loop, single crochet in the next one. And you can work this out yourself. You can do, let's say, 10 single crochets, then do your double crochet. So it's a really lovely thing because you can work out your own thing. And this way it just keeps going like this, nice and slanted. But of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, you can do this, you know, however many stitches before you actually do your double crochet. And it's so addictive. Now there are many, many patterns that you can make with doing this, right? I am explaining what I found the easiest and most enjoyable one to you so that you can get started with this technique. Once you've got this technique under your belt, you can make lovely, lovely designs because there are many patterns out there that will give you various designs of doing this. So for example, you do this, but then at one point you start coming back. So now, no, let me explain. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let me just finish the row because it's too exciting. It's too exciting. So now we are doing that last double crochet because we have one spot here after we have done our 5 single crochets, and of course this is our last stitch, so we pick up both the loops. Okay, I am getting too excited. Cut off your yarn because you're at the end of your row, always cutting off the yarn, pulling it through, and this is our first effect row done. Now the next row is easier because you don't have to count anymore. This is why I liked this particular pattern, because each time now you are going to put a double crochet behind the double crochet that we did. Okay, but of course here you have to look at the end of your row. You've done one right at the end of the row, so that means you are now going to have to do one right at the beginning, because otherwise you'll be doing more than your 5 single crochets. So if you put one here, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets, and that doesn't work because of course your repeat is 5 and 1, so this one has to be a double crochet. So you do your starting normal single crochet. There we go, we've started. Then just to check, you are going to count how many single crochets you would be doing if this one is a double crochet, and that's 6, so that's too many. So you yarn over and you pick up the front loop of this one and do your double crochet here. Then you skip that one and you do your 5 back loop single crochets. So you're just doing, in fact, on top of that double crochet here, you are doing a single crochet now, right? And now you're doing, yep, your double crochet in the front loop of the row below. Not the row below, but the row below that. Okay, so the same colored row. That's why I wanted to use these colors, because you always go, if you're doing alternate colors, you're going to the row of the same color. Here you just have to skip a row and then it's the next row that you are using. Okay, so not the row below, the row below that. And off we go back to doing our 5 single crochets. But of course, like I was just trying to explain earlier, you don't have to count anymore, because now you can see, oh, that's split. Now you can see where you have to put that double crochet, because we are going to decide to put it behind the double crochet that we did in the previous row. You can also start deciding, no, I'm not going to do it behind, I'm going to do it in front after so many rows, and then you will get this effect. So there's a lot of different effects that you can achieve, that you can make by doing, you know, different locations for your double crochet. You could make boxes, you could make all kinds. So there are loads and loads of patterns out there with different types of designs for where you put your double crochet. But in this tutorial, yes, I wanted, like I said, I wanted to show you a nice basic stitch that you can get on with and do straight away, even without having to go and look for another pattern. You can do this and become a really, really lovely pattern, a lovely effect. So last stitch is going to be under both the strands of the single crochet. There we go, see? And if you keep going, you're going to get a lovely effect, and you will have a very, very nice, if you're doing this in blanket size, you'll have a lovely blanket that people think, wow, that must have been so difficult, and it really is not. It just is so simple. It's really, really addictive as well, and yeah, it just looks so nice. So let me just do see how addictive this is? You just want to see the next effect, basically. So same thing again, single crochet under your 2 strands of that first stitch. So as you can see, this looks different, but that's okay. This is what we need for the slip stitch border when we start putting on our double enclosed border, you see. So now you do a single crochet there, you do your double crochet behind that double crochet, and you do another 5 single crochets, always back loop, and so on. So you just keep going like that, and each time your double crochets will sort of move one location. There we go. And you just have to keep an eye at the end. If you do a double crochet sort of at the right end of your line, then you know that at the front you're going to have to start paying attention on how many single crochets you're doing should you not be doing your new one. So once you've done 5 single crochets at the start, the next row you will be doing your double crochet again to start with. Okay, so just keep an eye on that. But other than that, yeah, this is a lovely technique, very, very effective. It doesn't grow very much, but the effect and the addictiveness of wanting to see the effect that the stitches give you is just unbelievable. And like I say, as you can see, it's lovely to do it with multicolors, but look at this. Look how lovely it looks with just the 2 colors. And of course I've got my Havana that I made, so do go and have a look at that video as well. It will show you another way of organizing your colors. And yes, you can use leftovers for this. I use leftovers for this, but I have seen people who have made a crochet blanket with the mosaic technique, just using 1 color for any row, like I've done with my granny cluster blankets. You can just use 1, if you have enough for 1 row, it can be a scrap busting blanket as well. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was clear, and I hope it gives you the confidence to just try this out, even if it's just a cushion cover front, like I did here, a table mat, just so that you can try this technique out. It looks daunting, but it really is not. So thank you so very much for watching. I hope you try this out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Don't forget to like and share this video. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of my uploads. Also, make sure you're a member of our Facebook group. Here are some suggested videos for you. I hope you enjoy watching them. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!